we have lots of pictures, but we couldn't find any. Yeah.
Well, I'm here to pick your brain on pork shoulder. See, I don't know too many folks in the country that can outcook you in pork shoulder. So I'm here to get all the knowledge.
Did you have his pork shoulder?
I'm sorry?
When have you had his pork shoulder? Have you had it?
I was there when his daughter won
that's
at
right.
the Royal.
Oh, that's right.
And of course, I've judged with Jim for years, and we use his products.
Yeah.
You know, and we've been doing rather well with his products lately. So we just did. In fact, we did a 6th place pork shoulder last week out of 56 teams with your product. So
you using pig powder?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were still using it.
Yeah, you even picked someone who went to Royal.
You know that there's so many guys out there using this stuff, and they don't talk about it. They won't say a word about it. And I don't say anything. I don't brag that I got so-and-so out here because he won this, that, and the other using this stuff. But it's kind of amazing. But that's actually the secret to the good pork shoulder.
Well, he's talking about pork shoulder right now. What are you interested in?
I'm going to just look around and see what I got.
What are your thoughts on these Berkshire hogs and shoulders?
If you can get your hands on it and you know it's Berkshire, I'd go ahead and that gives you one-upsmanship.
In competition?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's awfully hard to find it. And, you know, the way they cut up, they butcher hogs anymore, it's difficult to get one picked out unless you know where it's coming from. And there's some places where they do specialty selection of meat, you know, cutting up the meat and all. But I would use Berkshire anytime. I'll tell you, a couple of teams that are winning all the time, my brain just left, my memory brain. They're winning Pellet Envy, people like that.
Yeah.
They got a source of Berkshires out of Iowa, and that's what they're using.
Is that right?
And I'll tell you another thing, as far as brisket goes, you might as well go Wagyu instead of, you know, we used to cook, when I was cooking with Lee Ann, we cooked 4 or 5 briskets. And then pick out what we wanted. Just cook one now. Go ahead and bite the bullet and buy a Wagyu and $80 or whatever it'll cost you, $90 to get it shipped to you. And treat it with care and enter that. And she wins with that before we would with the, you know, the 3 or 4 other regular brisket, Black Angus or something like that.
Yeah, we cooked a Snake River Farms brisket last week as well. And it was, although it took 6th place, it was like a point difference between 6th place and 1st place.
Yeah, the judging could have done that for you.
So, but it was probably the best brisket I've ever cooked. So.
Yeah, that judging could get you on that. I remember years ago Mike Mills at Memphis in May. He had won Memphis in May a couple of times, and we'd finished, and I guess he got 2nd or 3rd or something like that. Mike says, "Jim, come here, I want you to taste these ribs and tell me what you think." And we stood there, I remember standing there looking out of the Mississippi River, and he was handing me these ribs. He says, "Tell me what's wrong with these things." He couldn't believe he didn't win. And I tasted the thing, God, they were fantastic. And I said, "Next year, get different judges, you'll win." Next year, damn if he didn't win.
Yeah, because I judged him one year in the finals, and last year he won.
Yeah.
So
that you just, every so often, you just synced out, you got the wrong table of judges. It's unfortunate, but that's part of the game, as you well know by now.
Yeah. So if one can, you recommend they do use the Berkshire?
Yep.
Okay.
I got one here, but you can't get your hands on it yet.
Yeah, I saw you doing some research the other day.
I'm trying to get this breed going. Does your wife do any baking at all? Get some of that lard. That is the best lard you'll find.
Really?
Yep.
The Mangulista?
Yeah. It's an Austrian hog. And it's the lard is just fantastic. And if you could get the pork shoulder off of that guy, you'd probably win the contest. But I don't know where you'd get them. And I'm trying to find out right now where to get breeding stock.
So you don't think that the texture is too rich for the judges of the Berkshire?
No. I think it maintains its pork flavor. Some of the stuff you get, you know, it has no pork flavor to it. It's just blah. It's just like you're judging putty or something.
The problem, one of the problems I'm encountering is that these judges now want everything injected. You know?
Well, some judges do. This is one judge that I just don't buy this injection stuff other than on a whole hog. And you can't beat a guy that's injecting a whole hog. Probably won't beat him with a regular hog. You need to pump a few gallons of injection into a hog. Unless it's one of these hogs, I wouldn't inject that.
You would not inject.
If I had that hog, I'd trim some fat off. Also on your Berkshire.
Yeah.
Take a little of fat off. You know, they used to talk about trim to a 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
Take some of that off there because it's got enough marbling inside the shoulder itself and the muscle. You can afford to cut some of that visible stuff off, and then you won't get a greasy piece of meat or something that's too fatty.
Okay. And you would not inject that?
No. Not a Berkshire I wouldn't inject.
Now, some of you guys are still using some of these Sam Club shoulders too. I guess those are the ones that they're injecting.
Which kind?
You go to the Sam's Club. Or,
oh yeah. Well, you don't know what you got in Sam's. Other than the packing house, you know it's an IGA or something like that. Smithfield, what have you. But Smithfield, one time you can get like a Smithfield rib you might buy at Sam's. One time it's good, the next time it's not.
Yeah, it's inconsistent.
That's some people have talked about. Well, do you want to compete with baby backs or with St. Louis? And depends on what you're doing. If you're competing out, say Washington State, and you go out there and you go get your meat out there, and you're thinking you're going to cook with baby backs, you got a problem because you're more apt to go out to Washington State and look around for some St. Louis, and you're more apt to find or some ribs you have cut down.
Yeah.
And then you will a good bunch of baby backs. And I still, somebody was talking about that yesterday, get tired of that. It's a bad name, baby back, because most of the loin back ribs are too big to be what is technically a baby back. 3/4 on down.
Now, another issue I had heard about in picking shoulders for competition is colors. That's the deeper color they are, the more likely they are to hold moisture back.
I wouldn't buy them with color. In fact, I don't like that deep colored pork. It's not normal. It's out of the normal. I'd get something that just had a nice pork look about it. I wouldn't go for a deep color. But I don't know. The other thing too, I think sometimes if I'm cooking a pork shoulder, if I were cooking one right here for us, I would cut it up and then I'd hit it just like salt with something like this. Any kind of rub you want to use this. This is a good rub, wins. And then just a little bit of sauce and stir it up and mix it up. Whether you're going to slice it the same way, just get the outside of it touched up just a little bit. And then you get some of the sweet into it. Sugar, of course, everybody likes sugar.
Yeah. In fact, everything seems to be leaning towards the sweet nowadays.
Yeah, it still is. They're trying to get away from it. Some of the stuff, I think even, I believe, no, it was him. It was Sweet Baby Ray. Did you go to that thing yesterday?
On sauce?
Yeah, he was talking about if he had to do sauce over again.
He'd make it thinner?
He'd make it thinner and not so sweet.
Yeah.
I would too. That's the reason I don't care for his sauce, but I'll use it in an emergency.
Yeah.
But not very much of it. I don't like a lot of it.
Yeah, but yet a lot of folks on the West Coast, competition, that's what they're using. And, of course, they doctor it up.
Put some vinegar in it and thin it out with that, maybe. I don't know. Might work.
So, but no, I find it to be an interesting comment as well.
Yeah.
That if he was to do it all over again today, that it would be thinner and less sweet.
Yeah. I was almost blown away by the fact that he admitted that and said that about his own product.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So, why don't you walk me through how you would prepare a pork shoulder today for competition?
Well, I'd get the thing. I'd trim. If it had too much fat, I'd cut a little bit of. If it was obviously very, very fat, I'd take a little bit off. But I would leave enough fat on there so you get fat. To me is taste. Is another way of saying taste, but some people say it's unhealthy. You know, I differentiate that.
Yeah.
I'd leave some on there and certainly leave a quarter inch on there, and then I would put some rub on it, let it sit in the rub all night.
Oh, really? All night?
Yeah. And it's going to drip out. You're going to have a lot of dripping underneath it, just sweet juice is what comes out of it. And I'd put it in. I wouldn't get it to room temperature before I threw it in the cooking environment. Because that's another thing that people just continually do wrong is take cold meat and cook it. I don't care whether you're cooking a T-bone steak or what, it's the wrong thing to do. You gotta let the stuff sit out and get room temperature. Of course, the health people will say that's not good. Let it sit and get room temperature. But still got a couple of hours to worry about, so you don't need to worry about that. And cook it in. I'd probably cook it. I'd take it up to 190 plus. At I use 2 1/4. I don't hot cook anything anymore. I did try some hot cooked beef ribs the other day. I got help from my daughter's restaurant in Chicago because she found she had a lot of Jewish people in that area of Chicago where she's in, and so the beef ribs she thought would be good for the menu. So I bought some black Angus. And beef ribs, about like this, ribs about that tall. And I skinned them. You can skin a beef rib. A lot of people don't seem to realize that, or they don't try. But you have it's difficult to do.
Oh yeah, no, I've done it.
You can get it off there on some of them. And I just stuck it in. I think I ran it up to about 250. 270, between 250 and 275 for about 5 hours. Oh. It hit just right. The meat just melted in your mouth. Best beef. My wife says, I think I like beef ribs better than I do pork ribs. And I don't know what sauce we used on it. I have some sauce I make with this. I call it Kathy's sauce. I use pig powder and I use peach. Make a sauce out of it. Using that as a base for the taste. Vinegar. And it's good stuff. Well, we're still back to that pork again. I'd go ahead and just stick that thing in the cooker at 2 1/4 and cook it a long time at 2 1/4. I wouldn't cook it hot. Now there'll be guys who'll argue with you, but I don't know. I just don't go along with that hot cooking.
That hot cooking thing bothers me too.
Yeah, I don't. You might hit, you might not. I don't know.
Okay.
That's the same way with this damn injection. You inject too much in there, and the judge hit a spongy point in that meat you inject. That'll kill it. Real quick.
Okay. Now, in presentation, I know you judge a lot as well. It seems like I see a lot of guys going straight money muscle. I've seen some guys go money muscle and a pull mix. For me personally, I don't do well with the pull. I can't figure out why. So what I've done, I've just gone with money muscle and sliced, and I seem to do pretty well with that. As a judge, what are you looking for?
One thing I don't like is all one or the other. Because he hadn't shown me that he could do anything with that thing, and especially the poor guy that sends in a box of pulled pork. It's just it's so bland. It might be beautiful pulled pork, but it's just a pile of pulled pork. I don't think that should win a contest.
I agree.
And so forget that. That's forget that right away. And if he's got 3 things in there, It's wonderful, especially if they're all good. You got the money muscle, you got some pulled pork, and maybe you got a little sliced pork.
Oh, okay.
Lee Ann and I have used 3 before and won with it.
Okay.
We've also lost with using 3 and can't understand why, but we did. But I think I like to see a guy that will show you that he can do something. It's like a guy that can send something in beside a thigh from chicken. And I almost give him a point just for being ingenious by doing something other than a damn chicken thigh.
Yeah, we've been running across problems with that in judging because on chicken, for example, we've sent in thighs, and try to be different. We also sit in some wings, the meaty portion of the wing, and man, we finished in the middle of the pack. And talking with judges, apparently what they're doing now is whatever you put in the box, they're judging everything. So if you got thighs in there and you've got wings in there, and one is not as good as the other, then they average the score.
In their mind, they average it out. Yeah. There is. I think they do a lot of averaging out like that.
Yeah, but it costs to cook. And what we're trying to do is impress you as a judge to show you, hey, I can cook more than just thighs.
Yeah.
And it's just mind-boggling.
Well, we had down in Mobile, we had 5 thighs, and one guy sent in some legs, small chicken, small legs attached to the thigh. I gave him a 9. I might have normally given him an 8, but I thought I have no problem giving him a 9 because they tasted good, and that I thought it was ingenious that he did something other than a thigh all by itself.
Yeah.
And it was good.
Yeah.
He didn't do so well on something else. I forgot what it was. On taste, I gave him. He tasted good. And I don't know. I think the other guys, I don't know. A couple of them, it was just a gooey, totally gooey thigh. You couldn't even find out if there was a chicken underneath that pile of goo. And he hit them hard.
Yeah.
On appearance, because you look at it, you see it's just a big pile of goo. You just, what's on there?
You like heavy sauce?
Oh, it was heavy and it was thick and it was just all over the chicken. They're doing too much of that now.
Yeah.
Like a thigh can be good if you don't smother it with sauce.
No, I agree.
It's kind of a happy medium.
You want to taste the meat and not the sauce.
And that happens a lot more. It happens a lot with brisket now too. They send in all these slices of brisket. It's like you're sampling rubber. You give them a little pull check to see if they pull. Yeah, it pulls right, and you put it in your mouth. It doesn't taste like beef. And I don't know what it tastes like. It's probably been injected. Maybe they overdid something, but there's no nice beef flavor to it. You've tasted brisket in Texas that they have in a normal Texas restaurant. Looks at that area. That is good tasting beef. And they don't cut all the damn fat off of it. They cook it with the fat, and if they serve it to you, they cut the fat off. That's where all the flavor is.
I don't know what's happening with the judges, if they're being trained a certain way, what's going on, but the way it was judged before is not what's going on now. And trying to figure out what's going on, really difficult, for the competitor. So.
Well, I was talking to somebody this morning, or yesterday, I was talking to one of the Sam's Club guys, and I'm judging finals in Bennington or wherever it is, Sam's headquarters is, in October. And I said, that's going to be the hardest thing to judge in the whole world, because I think the Jack is hard to judge because everybody's a winner that's there. So this stuff is, generally speaking, it's all good. Well, after they get through with this Sam's Club sorting out and get to the finals to go there, those guys are going to be super good. And I don't know how I'm going to maybe give all 9s. I just have to say, well, let the next guy break the tie. I can't see anything, but this is all 9s, this is all 9s. I can't grade it any other way. And I think it'll be probably the hardest job of judging that I've ever done. When they get through that culling out all summer long.
Wow. Yeah,
But you can see what I think. You see what I mean there.
oh yeah.
It's an easy contest when you get some stuff that's really variable, and then you can
Sort right
taste
through
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you're dealing with
When they're all experts, well, you're in trouble.
yeah, no, I don't. Well, I would enjoy being a judge on that. I don't think I would envy the judges in that. You know.
I don't. I find it easier not to judge a contest like that. I worry about something like that, particularly with the Kansas City rules, where if we could change your score, which you can do in some contests with a different set of rules.
Yeah.
But they constantly refer to it as comparing. Well, I think anytime you judge something, you're comparing it in your mind from